Now let's just get this out of the way. I'm not a Division fanboy. I do enjoy the franchise. I thought, 8 years ago when I saw the 2013 E3 trailer that this game was going to be absolutely amazing. Of course, Division 1 was kind of disappointing, and it continued to get more disappointing as it went on, just feeling like it was continuing to back away from what was presented in the trailer. And then, of course, Division 2 launched, and that was, again, a continuation of being further away from the E3 trailer, which, again, was disappointing. Now, I'm not saying it was a terrible game. I think that Division 1 was better than Division 2, and I think that Division 2 could have definitely done a much better job of integrating a lot of the lessons learned from Division 1. Now, I criticize both games. I criticize Division 1 for its mistakes, and I criticize Division 2 for its mistakes. And I think I'm pretty fair in my criticisms. Now, I do have some bias. Of course I do. But I think when I'm expressing what I think that the game should be, I'm going back to its, original concept that they've presented to us. This is what I think the game should be because that's what most players were interested in. That's what a lot of the original Division players wanted, and that was a huge disappointment when we didn't get it. And I think, we see the same thing with a lot of the PvPers. There was this Dark Zone concept that was amazing, and then they gave us, the Dark Zone in Division 2, and it's, for the majority of PvPers, terrible. It's awful, and, a lot of the PvPers are just kind of forcing themselves to do it because that's what's available now. But my problem begins with this release of information on Division Heartland. Now, when they released this information, all they gave us was this brief little statement about nothing and a picture of a water tower with a flare going off in the background. That's it. And yet somehow, across all of the social media platforms, people started acting like there's this huge amount of hype around this game, like it's done something amazing. It's a picture. There's no reason to be hyped about this. Given all the background that they've done for every other thing, going from the E3 trailer to Division 1, going from Division 1 to Division 2. Just looking at all of the, the changes that they've made, all the promises that they made. Remember just everything that they've done? Remember other games? The launch of Cyberpunk, the launch of Outriders? I mean, why are we doing this hype machine, right? Every freaking Division YouTuber was trying to hype Outriders as the next big thing. I said that, I was probably going to skip it. It became a free game on Xbox Game Pass, and I gave it a try. I thought it was all right. But you get all these YouTubers who were previously, just like the previous 2 months, hyping this game, trying to get people interested in it, talking about how great it was going to be, and then they don't get the views for a week, and they dump it. Well, now we've got this same situation going on. We don't even know when this game's going to come out. We've got all these, YouTubers, all these people on Twitter or whatever, hyping this game, acting like this game is going to be the next coming of Jesus, and why are we doing this? Why are we, letting this happen? Shouldn't the developers be the ones that are trying to hype this game? Shouldn't the developers being the ones that should be showing us something that's interesting, that, really sparks the desire of the player base? And honestly, when I see these posts, my thought process towards the people that are posting these things is kind of like this.
Seriously, you guys, can we? Okay.
Now, I'm not saying that people shouldn't be excited for something that could come out. I'm not saying that there's no potential behind the game. I'm not saying it's going to be a terrible game. We did end up getting a little bit more information because there was a leak from some of the alpha gameplay. Now, of course, some of you may say, well, it's just the alpha. That doesn't necessarily mean this is going to be anything like the final product. Yeah, keep telling yourself that. How often is that true? I'll wait for you to remember something, and if you do, you can post it in the comments below. Which game became so much better than the alpha version that got presented? Or which game became so much better than the beta that was presented? I can't think of a single game. Maybe some things got fixed as far as the server issues go. But there's hardly ever an improvement in the actual game. Most of the time, they just reduce the amount of options that are in the game. They cut things out. They reduce stats, or they basically change things and change patterns on gear and stuff like that, so that it's easier for people to understand, so that it's easier for players to jump into it. They don't make it better, they make it simpler. They dumb it down for people because they think everyone's stupid and that they're not going to enjoy a game if they go into a little bit of detail. That's what happens generally from an alpha to the final product. So in this gameplay that we've actually seen, and if you haven't seen it, It's fairly unimpressive, and I'm sure there's plenty of ways for you to look into it. I'm sure you can probably Google it, and if you Google enough different search terms for Division Homeland, you might be able to find something still up there. I do have it recorded, and if there is a time when I think that, I might be able to get away with posting it where it's not taken down, I could probably do that for you. But it's not really that exciting. It's not that impressive. Now, again, I'm not hating on this game. I don't know much about it, but I'm not going to think that it's going to become a drastic improvement over the next, few months. I don't think that the game is going to become super different from what is being presented now. I think what we see is the concept of the game. And this basic concept is this kind of PvE survival mini mode. Something I would actually draw kind of a parallel to the way that the Division 2 handled its Dark Zone. Remember the first time that you entered the Dark Zone in Division 2, it was like this PvE mini mode. So you had a little mission that you had to, do, and then, you extract something and then you leave. That was it. Well, the PvE mode in this Division Heartland seems to be like a taste of what's going to happen for the main mode of the game. So it's kind of like in Fortnite where you have the, there's like the Save the World or whatever version, which is like you fighting the actual zombies and building stuff. And then there's the main game that everyone plays, which is, the Battle Royale mode. Well, that's kind of what appears to be happening. There's basically a Battle Royale storm mode or something like that. And apparently the infection or the virus or whatever spreads and mutates or something, and I'm assuming it's probably going to close off certain areas of the map as it expands and force people to conflict with each other or extract, and whatever the heck's going to happen. I can't tell you because they didn't really go into it too much, but that seems to be the general idea behind it. So it doesn't really seem like it's developing anything great for the PvE side. The PvP side might be somewhat enjoyable. We're going to have to see on that. Now, I'm not going to say that it's all bad. You may like that stuff. You may not. That stuff may sound interesting to you, or it may not. There are some features that you might like from it. They're apparently adding, like the crouch and stealthy type mechanics, and they are adding like stealth takedowns to the game, and it looks like melee weapons, so you can take out enemies from behind. I'm not sure how well that works, because obviously in the footage that they showed, I'm not sure if it was just connection issues or server issues or gameplay issues, but the NPCs were kind of not really aware of anything. I mean, they just didn't seem like they were jumping into the actual game. It kind of just seemed like they weren't there until you looked at them, and then it took them a while to actually load in. So I don't know what that was about. Could have been just internet connection issues, but I'm not sure. But anyway, that could be a nice, addition to the game. Obviously, a lot of players have wanted something like that. However, one of the biggest things that you're going to probably be disappointed in, at least, the thing that really makes this not a Division game in my mind, at least what was presented. Again, it could change. I highly doubt that anything even close to what I would expect from a Division game will be incorporated in it. But again, it is possible, because obviously we didn't see everything, but we did see most of the user interface and stuff like that. So unless they're really, really doing a lot to hide the stuff that was going to be in it, just in case of leaks, I doubt it. I think this is what we are going to get. But if you are familiar with the basic setup of the Division games, obviously it's based around customization and, getting a good loadout, picking the talents, picking the stats, picking all of the mods and everything and the skills that you want to use on your build. That is what attracts a lot of players to the game. Players are interested in that. Players play the Division because of that, right? We can all agree that there's probably better shooters out there. There's better cover-based shooters out there. There's better PvE games. There's better co-op games. But what the Division does, at least what it has done that really interests players, is just the amount of customization, the amount of choice that you have to make a character your own. But what is shown in Heartlands is a stark contrast to what we actually expect from a Division game. We get 2 weapons and a melee weapon. We get a grenade. We get a chest piece and gloves. We get 1 skill, and the skill that was shown was grenade resupply. We get mission prep items, which are apparently like small radial boosts of power, I guess, that you can set up on a beacon, and it basically, within a certain radius, I guess it might give you a buff. I don't know. They didn't really go into detail on it, and it didn't appear that there were any available for the person to use. So there weren't really much details on it, but it was basically said that they need to be used on a beacon of some sort. This just kind of shows what bare bones stuff we're working with. You know, the armor doesn't really have any stats on it. I did see armor mods that you could get, and those were labeled armor regen. The gloves, they had, you know, some basic stuff on them. I saw crafting speed and crafting cost. So you could potentially create stuff faster when you're out in the wild, I guess. The weapons, the two mods that I saw were weapon handling and weapon handling. So this named weapon apparently had plus 40% weapon handling. That's what I saw. That's it. Nothing that screams to me this is going to be a diverse build-based game. In fact, this just seems really disappointing. And being the fact that it is a battle royale survival type game, you know, it lends it to believe that you're not supposed to go into battle with, you know, this full kit of amazing gear. So from a Division standpoint, you know, this kind of embodies the thing that most players just don't want. I mean, yes, survival mode was popular for a very small portion of the community, and a very small portion of the community is actually correct. It was like 2 or 3% of people actually played or spent any real time in survival mode. I mean, that's not a lot of players. There were not a lot of players in survival. So for people to constantly say like survival was the best thing in Division, I mean, that may have been true from your perspective, but overall the player base wasn't there. And I get the feeling that this game is not going to inspire more people, because once they actually see what it is, they're not going to want to play it. They're not going to want to invest time in it. I mean, I don't play Fortnite. I don't play Blackout Battle Royale from Call of Duty or whatever the heck it's called. I don't play any of the PUBGs. I don't have any interest in them. They're not fun because I don't want to jump into a battle, farm gear for, you know, 10, 15 minutes and then win and then have to do it over again. It's not exciting to me. And this is basically what's being presented. Now again, that's not to say that this game can't be fun. That's not to say that this game won't be enjoyable for many players. I don't know your personal preferences, and you may enjoy it. You may look forward to this game. From what I've seen, I can't say anything that really excites me about it being part of the Division franchise. It doesn't look like a Division game. It doesn't seem like it's going to be very Division-y. You know, it doesn't seem like the type of game that got us interested in the Division in the first place. And I understand that some players may enjoy it. I understand that some players who haven't actually played anything in the Division franchise might jump on board in this game. But again, I advise you, do not get hyped for this game. Do not expect this game to be the next coming of Jesus. This game is going to be what it is. As we find out more details, as we see, you know, what's coming down the road, you know, sure, give it some time, see what's going on, see if you're going to like it. But if you think that this game is going to embody everything that you love about the Division and just be a free-to-play version of it, I'm afraid that that doesn't seem like what's going to happen. I really think that a lot of players are going to be completely disappointed by this. I think that the people that have seen this, you know, trailer are either incredibly disappointed or, you know, they're looking forward to it. Now, again, like I said, I like the PvP in the Division because of making builds. Using the builds, using your creativity, using, you know, your thought processes to create something unique, to have some fun with it. I'm not really a meta builder. I don't like using what everyone else is using. I like experimenting and having fun. I like using complete skill builds. I like using complete DPS builds. I like using skill builds that complement DPS builds. I like using support builds. It just really doesn't seem like that's what's going to be on the table for Division Heartland. And that is, I think, the most disappointing aspect of the game. Now, I can't really say I'm disappointed in it because I pretty much had the lowest expectations of what this game was going to be. And honestly, that's probably the best stance to take. Do not expect anything great from this game. Do not expect this game to be good. Do not expect that you will enjoy this game. If you expect the worst, well then guess what? In the worst case scenario, you're going to be like, okay, I already knew it. I already had the feeling it was going to be terrible. it doesn't mean anything to me. If, again, you were super excited, super stoked, and it turns into something that's just a pile of garbage, that's when you get disappointed and you just become uninterested in everything. You know, like it bites you in the butt. So again, please don't get excited for this game. Please don't try to hype this game up without even, having the basic details of what the game is. If you are, still really excited for it, if you are still really, just driven to play this game, if you are not just driven by getting views on YouTube, then sure, wish it the best. But again, I don't think the majority of players who are currently, enjoying the Division, I don't think this is going to be their cup of tea. But that's just my take on it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.